You know, I do love the seats in my Model 3, but you know what would make them even better? If they were both heated and cooled, because they're only heated right now. So it's time for us to put in brand new seats that are heated and cooled, not on the newest Model 3, but on the old Model 3. This beautiful girl. So let's get into it. So I went ahead and spent some hard-earned money on EVOFFER. So on their website, they have basically a retrofit. So you see, this is what I just got. It came in 2 boxes. They have the back seat. I went with black. You can get a bunch of different versions of this, but they have the black. I wanted to match it as much as possible. And this is a replica of the new Model 3 seats. So I've got these, the cushions. It came with the headrest, the plastics, and of course, this is the little bit that's gonna make everything work. So once you put everything together and you have the fans in there, these are gonna make the seats ventilated. So because I'm doing the passenger side, the first thing we're gonna do is do some wire disconnecting. So right up here, this panel, you're gonna pop out the top. There's a clip and lift up. You can see how that looks. And then next up, we are going to pop out this trim so we can expose the wires. Now you can grab this and push back a little bit and get this weather stripping out of the way to make it easier. Right up in here, you've got a pin. You can get a tool or maybe your fingers if you can, but pull that pin out. And once you get that pin out like that, you can remove the rest of it. So it'll come out just like that. So I started over on this side, begin to pop it up, and it just kind of curves up, and we take it out just like that. You can see there's some clips in there that slide directly in. And now that that trim is out, we're going to take the seat and we're gonna move it all the way back. And once you do, you'll be able to see these Torx bits in here. And I really need to clean my car. I know, that's next. But this is a T45. It's slightly loose in there, so if someone makes like a T46, it would probably be the right size, but we're gonna take these out. And once both of those are removed, we are going to move the seat all the way forward, jump in the back seat so we can get the T45s in the rear. So just removed both from the rear, here and here, the T45s. Now next up, we need to get this trim piece disconnected. We can get this one in here, and if you look under, so this is looking at the seat from the front, and if you see this corner up here, it's right up here. I've seen videos, it can be a Torx 15, but if you look under here, it's kind of hard to see. I'll show you what, guys, once I have it out, but right under here, it's not a Torx at all. So you can see right there, I do not have a Torx. I just have a bolt that's going up and it's securing this piece to the seat. So whatever you have there, go ahead and remove it. All right, so here it is, just got it out. It is an 8mm, and I used this one ratcheting once I got it out because it was way easier. I cannot get a socket on it. I've watched videos, people say you need to like lift this up to get access and move it and whatnot. This trim in this seat does not matter. So definitely get a wrench that has an angle to it so you can get down in there, because it is in that little divot where the plastic is. But once you get that out, now this should be loose. Yep, just like that, you can see. And next stop is to get the special tool for this. So this is what the tool looks like. It's actually provided in the kit. I just didn't see it. So we're gonna grab this and we're gonna get the seatbelt out. So underneath here, you see there is a big opening and a smaller opening. You're gonna get your tool and you're gonna take that big opening, place it in here, and the small opening, that's the only way it'll work. And then you slide it in, and it might take a little finagling to get it out, but I'm doing this with one hand, so. And easy peasy, it just pops right out. You just push it in further. I just didn't have the strength to do it with one hand, and it'll pop itself right out. Now that we have the seat belt out, we've already had this stuff out. Now we just need to start fishing this out. So if you want to start at this end and start fishing this stuff out, you can. There's 2 retaining clips that we should get to. But there we go. That's pretty much good. We're going to come up here, and there's clips in here. Again, you can take
I closed the door, so I had to undo that. So we can, of course, take this stuff off to give you better access in here. And there is your first clip right here. It's this black clip. You just need to get a tool under there and pop it up to make it easier, but you can just grab it. Because they're wires, I don't like to do that and just kind of yank it out. So get yourself a tool and just pop this one out. This is my little pry tool. Stick it in there and separate it. And if you trace it up, you've got one more down here. So this one you can see is a little bit different. This is like one of the jagged little Christmas tree looking ones. And the one over here has two little tabs that you may break, but it's not a big deal. Use some zip ties if it does. This stuff's hidden. So let's start pulling this stuff out, and we can figure out where this is traced to. So here's the wire we have. We had it kind of looped down there, but it comes up, and that's the little warning thing. And then if we look up in here, this is what we have. So it's this huge wire here, and you've got the white clip. What you're gonna do, you see you have that clip, you're gonna push that in with your finger, and once you have that pressed in with your finger, like that, you're gonna pull up on this, and it's a little lever. So just like that. So I just pushed it down, at least this way, push this up like so, and that will release this whole thing. So we can get in here and we can wiggle it out, and there we go. This is the whole big old chungus right here. Actually, I lied, there is 3 clips. I just noticed that this one is stuck in there too, so let's pop that one out. Now that we have that out, lay it on the outside of the vehicle, get as much slack out as you can, and now we officially have everything out. So we're going to take this seat, we're gonna tilt it towards us, so this part of the seat, that little corner, is gonna be in this corner, so we're gonna pop it up and rotate it out. All right, so let's come in here. Tilt this back. Swing it around and lay this down. And there you have the beautiful seat. And right now is the most phenomenal time to vacuum your car. Alrighty, now that we have the seat out of the car, the first thing we need to do is get the headrest off. And in order to do that, we're going to squeeze this down, and you'll be able to look in here and you'll be able to see exactly where we need to get. So this is the little metal piece on the inside, and we need to get a clip out of the way so this whole thing can lift up. So once we move this material down, you have to push down way further, and you'll start to see that piece right there. That piece is what we need to move over to the left. So we'll get a pick or something in here and clip this over, and we'll have to do that on the other side too. Once we do that, you can see once it's out of that little groove, then we can move the whole headrest up. So you can see I've got a pick in here, and I've got it moved over. It's kind of hard to see with the material, but I've got it moved it over. Now do the same thing on the other side, and we'll lift up at the same time. And once you get them unclipped, I unclip the left and the right. Now it's free to come up. And there you go. There's your headrest. And that should also mean that this back piece will come out. Sometimes it doesn't just fall out. There it goes. Sometimes it has like a little clip that's stuck in there, but you can see the headrest bars go down in here, and that's what keeps this back piece in place. So with the headrest off, I just leaned everything forward. So now we need to start taking off all the stuff here on the back. So let's start with this back strap. This is a clip, as you can see. So we're just gonna push down on that. Same thing with the other side. And once those 2 straps are out of the way, now we'll move on to these ones. So just put your thumb in there, and we're gonna pop this out, and we'll go through the line. We'll take this one out, we'll take this one out. And once we take those out, we can also take the whole harness itself out. So it just literally slides out, and we'll do that with this one too. This one's a little bit tighter. And now those are all out of the way. We can grab this one and we can just lift up. This is a clip, and you can see here on the back side, you just kind of put your finger under there and pop that out. Now this one's free. Now this one, we can see is connected right here, and we want to get this unconnected. So on the back, I just took the tape off, and you just push it forward. And once you push it forward, you can see the whole piece itself is just kind of clipped in the backside. So it's just kind of resting in there. But once we have it out, now we can actually disconnect this. Okay, so I finally got this one removed, and it is very difficult. You gotta get some pliers and get that thing out. There's no special trick to it. It's literally just in there. There's no lock. It's just really, really in there. So you might struggle with it. I broke the little doohickey. I don't even know what that's for, but it's under your seat. It's not gonna go anywhere. So that's unplugged now. And last thing is I unclipped this one. So pretty much everything, everything is now taken off of this white clip. So before, right down here, we took out that one. I told you it can be a Torx 15 or whatever the heck I had. So you could do it now. You could do it when you had it in the car. In hindsight, it's probably easier to do it here. But once you have that out, now we can start to push this and get this trim completely removed. So after getting that screw out, we can actually look on the inside and see this big old clip. That is what is keeping this in. So if you do want to reach in here and squeeze those tabs in so this can be pushed out, I suggest doing that. It's a lot easier. So I just popped that one out. Now you can see there is one wire that's leading to all of your seat controls. So we'll take this and we'll try to wiggle that out. And once you pop that wire out, then we can go around the top. We've already taken off the seat belt. So now it's just this top bit that we just have to move and unhook, and then just get the seat belt bit out of there. And it has been removed. Yay. All right, so for now we're done with that. We're gonna flip the seat back up to look like this. And over here was just the back part. The only thing left holding it on was the straps that we disconnected. Now, from all the videos I've seen, everyone's looks different depending on the year of the Tesla, plus if it's a Tesla 3 or Y. So there's that. I've got a Performance. I should have everything. I'm guessing this was for the next generation, the refresh. There's stuff on here that's just not used. So I'm gonna put a tape over them just so I don't get confused in the end, where I'm like, oh crap, I didn't plug something in. These are unused, so I'm gonna tape over those real quick. And now that those are taped, we're gonna start with these. So we're just gonna lift up on those, lift up on these. We're gonna get everything that we can unhooked. You can see there's hooks pretty much everywhere holding this stuff in. Go through, there's another hook. Then we have the harness in the way, move up. Now we've got hooks in here. Now we'll get that. You can see there's a hook just like everything else. We'll get all of this stuff. And once all of those are released, next up we're going to get to the airbag. So this is the passenger side in America. So I've got the airbag on this side. So over here, it'd be towards the door. We're just gonna take this out, super easy. On the inside, there's 2 bolts. Those are 10 millimeters. So we're gonna get a socket in there and take those out. And once both of those are taken out, now we'll be able to slide these out. So the bolts are out. And right down here in the wiring harness, now we just need to disconnect this. Now this one is super easy to remove. I'm showing this on the outside so it's a better angle. This is just a collar, and you push the collar down and it releases it. So it's like a little spring mechanism. You see that? So you just pull down on that and it'll pop itself right out. We're gonna just take the whole upholstery part off. So everything is removed. So go ahead and grab this, lift up on it, and you can start to remove everything. So over here on the sides, I'm just pushing forward like that. I did that already on the other side. Push it forward so you can see all of that. And now we're going to push up and forward to get this out. Just make sure this clip over here is not reattaching itself on stuff. And there we go. So that is the front pad. And we also have the airbag in there. Remember that airbag because we're gonna need to put this back on. Okay, so now we can see the airbag and get to it. I was wrong. I thought this whole thing was going to come out. This bag that it's sitting in is actually sewn into the seat itself. So we're not going to be using this anymore. So we're actually going to come in here and grab it. You can also go from the bottom and push it up. Make sure that these are not poking through. And we're just going to kind of push it up through here until we can get it out folded. All right, just got it up the top. There we go, just got it out. Now I'm just gonna put this off to the side and we will reuse that right hand later. Now that we have the upholstery on the back off, we're gonna switch to the bottom, but before that, make sure you check up here that you have both of your pins. I disconnected this one and only unclipped this one. So this one fell back into place. This one came off when I took my upholstery out. So I fished it out, clipped it back in. If you're missing one, that's where it's at. So now we are back here on the bottom. We're gonna get this bottom seat cushion out. So all the way down here, there is a clip. We're going to just pop this one out. These are difficult because they're like really in there. I can't even get this with one hand like I thought it was going to. So it's basically a C that clips on there like that. So if you want to make it easier, you can see here on the end, you can get a screwdriver or I guess a pry tool and put it up here and pry it out. Because once you get a corner of this, the whole thing will come out and it'll be a lot easier. So once you start getting it started, try on one end, it's a lot easier. And if you push, you'll get one over the edge and then same thing, work it around. And now you've got, flip it out. Now we've got this out of the way. See how it's like a C clip, and that's what it looks like from the side. It's got a little hook in there to make sure it stays on. This side smooth, the other side has that little lip. So we're gonna do that one. Then we're gonna come in here on the inside of both the left and right side and get those off. Those ones are much more difficult. At least one is, the other side will then become loose. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start over here on the right-hand side since we took all that trim off and it's much easier to get to. You're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna pop this one off. I actually didn't pop it off, it was already off. So it might be easy for you, it might be really hard for you. So that is now off, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip this over, we're gonna peel this back, get this unhooked over here, push it up, and then this side is just, it's already falling out. It's so much looser. Well, there's your problem. I forgot to unclip these. Take my own advice. There we go, got these ones. Now I can pull this up, and this is the seat cushion. Now we can squeeze that up front, flip this back over like that, and then just pull forward. Bada bing, bada boom, we got this bad boy out. All right, I take it back. We've got one wire coming up. It's this one that's connected down here. So we're gonna unplug this guy, and it should give us full access to get this thing out. So this one was actually really easy to get out. This little clip up in here, you just push that in. This little guy, you just push that in, it'll slide right out. And look at there, we got a naked seat. Here is the new seat. You can see it's got that little bit of extra room. Very good for tall people. So we've got this just out of the package. So I'm gonna put it up here. I'm gonna route this stuff right back through where it was before. Same thing over here. Make sure this stuff is not being pinched and get it routed back in there. Squeeze it in and we'll get this in place and then flip this forward. Okay, so this next part, getting this cushion set, is a little bit on the difficult side. So first thing, make your life easier, make sure these are routed above this seat cushion along, or else they're gonna be trapped underneath there. I just had to pull these out, so that's annoying. Second, you can see that there is a dip. So this bar right here goes in this dip on the inside of the cushion. So when you put the cushion on top of the seat like this, when you place it on here, push it down and then you can sit on it. You can push on it this way, but push as much as you can. Shove it in that little crevice. And then once you get it in there, a little bit of this is gonna be squeezed through down there. I grabbed this and gave it some tugs, and it kind of scoots it in, and then you just fold it over and make sure that is seated just like you see here. So now we can get all this other stuff in place on the sides. Now this is the part that's gonna be a pain in the butt, but you can see the clip here, like that. That is gonna be hooked right in here. So here on the left side, if you need to move this forward, which is quite helpful, there's a clip here and right up here. They're just clips you can pull straight out. And you also might have, it sounded like it broke for me, but when you pull it out, this white piece might come off. It's totally fine. It's just kind of pushed on there. Maybe I can't take it out, but it's just pushed on there. You can move it around. They might fall off, but we get those two clips out of the way. You could continue on. You see there's another white clip up there. You could take that all the way off, but this is more than enough room. These are super, super flexible. We're gonna get this and we're gonna fold it in until it reaches that lip. And then we're gonna get the corner on that, and then we're just gonna fold it over like that. And once you get it into place, you just push it in, and now we're locked in place. So you can see all the way up to here, everything is pushed in. Beautiful. Now we get these clips back into place, pop that in. I'm gonna jump over to the other side, and then we can get the bottom one. I could probably do the bottom one right now. It's the same process. Get it lined up and then flip it, which is not easy to do with a single hand. Flip it like that and then push it in. All right, bottom seat cushion kind of in place. Haven't plugged anything in. Now we're gonna do the top portion. So we're gonna flip this up. So now we're gonna put the back part to the seat. However, before we do that, we need to put in our airbag. So one of them is gonna have a pouch on the right, one of them is gonna have one on the left. So because mine was on the right, I need to make sure I grab the seat with the one on the right. Pretty straightforward. So we're gonna grab this. This connector is gonna be facing down. The bolts are gonna be facing in. We're gonna slide it in this pocket. And once you slide it in there, you've got two little slots in there for the bolts, and then of course you've got the little area down here for your connectors. So that's in place. And I'm gonna jump into the little box that came in, and we need to install this bit first before we put the seat on. So you see this, the front part of the seat. This is how it's gonna be arranged. See how the little clips, it's flat on the bottom, and up top it is rounded. We're gonna come in here and right in this hole, see that? You're gonna put that in there, slap it in place, it's gonna click in, and that's what it's gonna look like. It's nice and sturdy, right in place where we want it. Now we can grab the seat, and we're gonna lift it over the front, and we're gonna have these pass through the top. But you know, first I have to take these off because from the factory they're clipped together. So you're gonna slide it over the top, and you can see you've got your padding up here. Now the padding, you see I've still got a little bit more room for everything, but you need to squish the padding over the rails, and you can see in here, there's a divot. That divot's gonna be, of course, pressed onto here, so you need to move things closer to you, pop it in place, scoot it down, but getting that in place and getting these corner pieces are the difficult part. But once that's in, you can easily slide this down and get it into place. All right, before you start getting things in place, there's a little checklist to make sure you got everything. So make sure, like I said, that gets over there before you start pushing those into there. And of course, the bottom one, definitely, before you put this little dip in here, underneath here, make sure you route these under. So you're gonna have these, and these are the ones on the outside that are gonna come in. These are the ones on the bottom that are gonna come up, and this one is routed under the bottom here. And last but not least, you are going to have a wire being connected under here and being routed this away. And also, don't forget the green wire that is attached to the seat. That's gonna be also routed under here. So make sure all of that stuff is routed properly. Of course, your airbag, make sure that's in there. I still have to make sure the bolts align up in there. But once you have that all in place, then I'm gonna do the airbag, and then I'm gonna make sure all this stuff is secured and then tucked where it should be. Just got the nut onto each one of those, And then down here, plugged in the connector. So replug that back in. So we're good with the airbag. Once that airbag's done, let's get started strapping things in. So first up, we're going to connect these two again. So they look like something like that. And then this guy is gonna be stretched down and hooked under here onto this metal bar. And before I forget, we're gonna come down here. And the last thing we need to really get this whole thing in place, the sides and whatnot, is the bottom. So this little divot in here is gonna be for this portion. So I'm gonna go to the front, I'm gonna tuck it in, and then at the back, tug this, and then we should be able to get this foam up under here. And if at any point you're having trouble trying to get a socket onto here, or get things lined up, or get the wires through, or where I'm at now trying to get this padding under here, you can always take this off. It's a 10mm bolt. You just take that out, and then you just kind of slide it up until you get it on the outside. Then you can slide it back down, and these little hooks, which go up in the holes in there, you can then slide them down. Now, if you want to go further, you can disconnect the wires that are connected to this, or if you just needed a quick access like this, then you can do it like that. So now that I have access, you can see I've tucked that lip as much as I can in there. And now with this, I should be able to give it a few tugs to be able to pop through on the other side. And once it starts to peer out from the bottom, you don't have to tug on it or else you'll rip it, but if you just do this, it'll kind of work itself into place. And I did that all the way across, and now you can see it's sitting where it needs to be in that little groove. We can put this back in place and then start getting these little side straps in. So the first ones I'm gonna do are these left ones. I'm gonna try to make that as tight as possible, no wrinkles, and then we'll do the same thing here on the left side. Very easy, we just grab these, slide them over, and make sure they're nice and smoothed out where they should be. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to work on these flaps on both sides. So we'll start with the bottoms. So this top one is gonna be going up here. This side one has its own right there. I'm gonna try to skim it in there. There we go. Do the same thing on this side. All right, we've got those in. Now we're gonna be moving on to the sides. So we've got a hole right on here, and we've got a hook here. So we're gonna slide that in, and then we're gonna wrap it around and hit this bottom one, which is the hole through here. This doesn't hook onto anything, but this one is gonna be stretched and hit that one. So it looks something like that. A little bit of stretching going on. And of course, the same thing over here on the right-hand side. Once those are in place, we're gonna pop this one in place. It's just as easy as popping it up and over these hooks. We are now back on the bottom of the seat, and we're focusing on the fan. For the fan, we've got this little shroud and little silencers. You see these in PCs, but we're gonna take this and we're going to grab this rubber shroud, I guess I'll call it, and stick it through like so. And once you're done, it will look like this. So to get the fan on here, it's pretty easy to line up. You see where the flat part is here, it'll go on that flat part right there. And that is where everything will hook in. So you see that'll hook up. Everywhere where it has one, it will just hook in. These ones, on the other hand, they are not lined up. So you might be able to move this a little bit. If not, then this thing you can get to rotate, but then that stuff's in the way. So I guess I'll figure it out and show you guys what I do. So if you want everything to line up, this is what it's gonna look like. This bottom one is doing a little bit of a stretch to get there. So this plastic part is not perfectly made. Everything else seems to be beautifully made, except for this plastic thing is just not working for me. So what I can do is I can keep it like this, and I can zip tie it on the existing holes, put it through something, or I can cut this off because I feel like, well, that's hitting that. So I don't think I will have too much of a problem with rattling. Yeah, the only rattling I see is that, but I'm gonna use the included zip ties to zip tie at least these bottom two ones down. Rattling is the only thing I care about. I don't care what this looks like because it's under the seat, but I gotta figure that out. Well, after I zip tied everything down really, really snug, There's definitely no vibrations or anything making noises, so I'm not gonna worry about it unless once I get this and try to shroud it over, I might have an issue getting it to where I need because of this. So there might be a reason for me to trim this piece off. So now comes the wiring. So in the box, you get the little ECU. This controls, this is your moneymaker right here. This controls your ventilated seats and everything to make it work. So from here, we're going to go through it, and they're gonna have a bundle together that looks like this. This is gonna be your power. So that's gonna go in the middle of the car. If you have a rear screen, that's where it goes, or the rear vents, that's where that is. So that power, we'll move that off to the side. That'll be in the middle of the car, and then you'll have the driver's side and the passenger side. So if we look at it, we'll have a bundle down here. They're the same wires. You've got a green, a gray, and 2 blacks. See those just lead directly in. These are the driver's side. And then the other one here that you have a connection to, and then another connection to, this is gonna be your passenger side with all the same connections. So I'm gonna put all this off to the side, and we are just going to have these connectors here. These are gonna be what plugs in. So the first things that connect, which are the easiest, this really, really long cable with the black connector. This is gonna be your fan that's gonna go up top. So that one will be plugged in up there. And then might as well grab your other shorter black one and plug it into this fan. Once those fans are plugged in, now these two, the green and the gray that are coming down, these are gonna be plugged into our ECU. So these are the 2 colors. So green goes in green and gray goes in gray. And next up, this long wire that's coming from up top that has these 2, that red and black and the gray. The red and black is gonna be the one that comes right in here. And the gray is going to plug into this gray that is coming up from the top. So this one's a tough one. Not sure why, but I'm pretty sure the seat sensor here is super short. And what I had to do was crack open this in order to get it to stretch to fit. So if you want to do the same, you see there's 2 spots here and here. And there's also another one here where you need to get that little lip out of there. Once you do that, you can open it up enough to move it to this side because it was over here. I'm thinking I might do a little bit more, pull a little bit more wire out of here so it's not, I mean, it's pretty loose now, but just to make sure it has enough, and then zip tie it in place so it's not going anywhere. All right, now we have everything plugged in. We got the seat sensor, we've got the 2 grays and the green. So the only thing that should be left over are these 2, which were the original plugs. Now you can try if you want to try to get these to be hooked up back in here, but the cord length is just not there. You need like another inch. I've even tried to cut open the top to give myself as much room as possible, and it still will not, I'm not breaking the wires to do this. So I'm just gonna use the included zip ties, cable management, everything, make it all pretty. Now I have the ability to take this down and hook it on. Okay, I got that one pulled down. That one's pretty darn tough to pull down, pretty tight. Maybe I could have done it one more, but I feel like that's where it should be going. But that's where I've got it. Everything looks to be in order. Last but not least, we need to put on the back and the headrest. So first off, we're gonna start with the headrest. So at an angle, you'll find both the holes where these pieces of metal go down into, you know, where we had them before, and you're gonna slide it into place. You're gonna have to kind of bend this back a little bit to get that angle, but once you get it started, it slides in. It's a lot easier than you might think. But before you go too far, remember that we do still have the back piece that needs to be routed through these little holes. So right down here where it was before, there's 2 slots. 2 slots are going to go into these little hooks. So I managed to get it back on. Sorry I couldn't record it, but it's quite difficult. You need more than one person, honestly. But you have the 2 slots that the holes go in. So you need to lift this up just enough to where those aren't sticking out. They're just kind of flush where those 2 holes go in. And because of the way this seat is kind of curved,
you need to grab it by the head and put pressure right here. So put a lot of pressure so those kind of go in and they feel like they kind of pop into place, and then you lower it, and once you lower it down, it'll lock this into place. So you know when you have it. So that is pushed down all the way. Last but not least, we need to get our ludicrous badge. So for this badge, I'm not sure, but I'm going to tuck these in. So I just got one tucked in. Now I need to get that one. Try to tuck it into that little slot, because the back side of this, we've got, you can see a center clip and then 2 positionings. So center clip, 2 positionings, and at the very end, those last clips. So I need to get these taut into place and then pop it straight in. Okay, just had to double check. The curved part goes up, so it's gonna look just like that. And then we just, push it in. All right, there we go. That took just a second. Now make sure at the very ends, the middle one is the first one I did, and then it kind of looked like it was in place, but really put your hand on the back and push the corners in. You'll hear a little click, so it is definitely not going anywhere. And there we go. The seat is now complete. We can put it back in the car. Actually, almost forgot, we gotta put this side piece back in, so we'll feed this through, plug this back in. Whew, okay, so when you put it back in, it's pretty simple. Same way you took it out, just reverse order. And then when you come down here, just make sure the seat, let's get some light in here. Just make sure the seat sits down in those holes, like so. It should fit beautifully like a glove. And then just do whatever the reverse was. So I did the rears last, so I'm gonna screw in the rear, plug it in, scoot it back, do the front, etc. Put this back in, plug it back in, exact opposite of what you did to take it out. And of course, think about how you're going to be routing your wires, because we still have to get power under here and we have to get over to the driver's side seat. So if you want to, what some people do is they mount it under the carpet. So if you lean the seat forward, there's some gaps in the carpet. You can mount it under the carpet. You can mount it under the railing, like where I have it right now. It's just under the railing. There's plenty of room under there. You can do it that way. You can, do whatever you like. All right, got her bolted in. Look at that difference. It's looks like it's a little bit taller. Maybe it's just the way that my seat's currently at, but look at that. It looks so good. And this is like way softer, and this is like 10 times softer of a material. And when you sit in this thing, it is miles better than the original seat. I really didn't think there would be a difference, but the bolstering and everything that hugs you, oh, it's so good. Now I can't wait to do the other side. Switching gears over to the driver's side. So this is the driver's side seat, and this is the one with lumbar. So this is what it's going to look like. I also noticed over here on the side, it looks like that's where the motor is or something, but that's where this wire connected into. Where we saw on the passenger side, this one wasn't used for anything. That is what it's connected into. It's like its own little pouch, just like over here for the airbag. It's in its own little pouch. So it's pretty cool. You can see that this frame on the other side, there's airbags, and that is what it's doing. It's feeding air into these little airbags for lumbar support. So that's pretty cool. So I just put on the new back, the new cushion. So it really looks like it's the same thing. You do have this lumbar support, which is different, but it stays on the frame. So really, once you just kind of move the frame out of the way to get in here and put on the airbag, like, you don't have to disconnect anything unless you want to try to make it easier. But this isn't going to be connecting to something new. Like, this is just transferred over to the new one, and it stays right there on the frame. All right, so I'm getting near the end of the driver's side, and there is some differences. It's for the driver's side, you can see that the pre-cut hole for the fan is right directly in the center rather than like more up here. This one, they get a little bit more, so you've got more slack on this one. Also with these ones too, a little bit more slack, so you can actually clip these on. But once you put the plastic shroud on there and feed that through, you're eating up your space to have those clipped on. So you can either have one or the other. I'm gonna put the shroud on, zip tie it in, and then just zip tie these down here. It's not really a big deal. And of course I gotta make sure I zip tie this guy in place so he's not getting caught on anything. And that's pretty much
it for the driver's side.
Ooh, would you take a look at these seats? They are gorgeous. They are softer, and the bolstering on these are like a million times better than the originals. So I feel a lot better. Like, you know, if I was to go around a corner, this just hugs you so much. Headrest, I think it's a little bit further back, which is nice. But these seats are like, some say it's a slight improvement. These are really, really nice seats. So let me show you how they work. So because I have the premium, I can actually make the left and right do different things. So the left, you can hear I've got the fans on. It feels good. It's actually quite warm in here. So you can hear it. I've got the fans on and it's different speeds. So I can change it. And on this side, I have the heated seat. So that just goes into heated seat like normal. In order to change the left and right, you'll just go to the defrost and you can double tap it. So that works for the right-hand seat. So it's on heated. And if I just double tap the defrost, it changed over to cooled seats. So now the fans are on. So if I want to change that, double tap and it turns itself off. So I don't need that on right now. And then for the driver side, again, this is premium. If you have the regular one, it's just double tap and it'll just, that's all it does. So for the driver side, it's different. It's not the rear defrogger, it's the front defrog or defrost or whatever you want to call it. So if I want the front one, I've got it on heat right now. So you can hear there's no fans besides the actual HVAC. So if I turn that off, and then I triple tap, so 1, 2, 3. Then I hit this. Now I've got the fans. So it's a little funky on how they do it, but that's drivers and that's passenger if you have the premium like I do. So these are the premium seats, ludicrous badging, ventilated, so you've got the little holes and stuff in here, and you've got the little extra. See how there's extra for the legs? You can get even more on top of this, but I thought that'd be a little bit too much for me. But man, they are way more comfortable. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this install video. These seats are freaking phenomenal. I really suggest you guys get them. If you like the new Model 3, the Highland version, the 2024 and up, but you don't want to buy one, you can basically make your car that car. I've already got the rear screen. I've got the seats. I've got pretty much everything that the new one has besides the headlights. Maybe that'll be a future update, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time.